Welcome to the Worst of the Riot podcast. Coming up, the NFL Super Bowl matchup conspiracy has been debunked. Or has it?
Also, love 'em or leave 'em, the credit card debt edition, and more on the Worst of the Riot podcast.
Radio U's Worst of the Riot podcast.
Isaiah, I just learned about a troubling term. I want to see if you think you might be involved in this. You ever heard of money dysmorphia?
I have not. It sounds like it has to do with money and some sort of issue with it.
That's very astute of you. That's you've got a keen eye. Money dysmorphia. Surely you're familiar with body dysmorphia.
I am familiar with that.
Which, I mean, how would you describe that? Body dysmorphia is everybody looks at you, they see one thing, you look in the mirror, you see another thing, you think your body is way different than it actually is, and that causes a lot of issues with how you treat your body and how you think, basically. Money dysmorphia is similar although I don't understand it much more than I think I get body dysmorphia, although I don't suffer from it. Money dysmorphia is you have a certain financial situation, but when you behave as if you have a different financial situation. In other words, you spend more money than you have. And according to a new survey from Credit Karma, just about half of people suffer from money dysmorphia. Do you think you're one of those half of people?
See, I don't think that it should be considered money dysmorphia.
That's what they're calling it.
See, I don't think that's a real thing.
Yeah.
I think the real thing is just people not being financially savvy.
Uh-huh.
Not being a good budgeteer, not being a good saver.
Well.
But they came up with this term that they're like, well, it's not that I don't know that I shouldn't be spending this much money. It's that I have money dysmorphia.
Mm-hmm. Well,
it's a condition.
It is. It's not my fault. It's not my fault that I'm in debt. It's my money dysmorphia.
I can't
blame
stop
me.
using my credit card because I have money dysmorphia. It's not because I'm not good with my money.
It's a disease, dang it. I'm suffering from it. It's an affliction. It's a terrible affliction. And
the doctors don't take me seriously either when I go in there. They won't. They won't give me anything.
Does it even qualify as this? Can I say, does it even qualify as like a disease, an affliction, if like half of people have it?
No.
That just means that you're just a person. You're just a person. But money dysmorphia, they say that you're particularly likely to suffer from money dysmorphia if you're younger. And the reason why is because of social media.
They love it. They love
social media.
I mean, that is the root cause.
I hate this quote from Ted Jenkins, CEO of Oxygen Financial, who said, social media has convinced 22-year-olds that they should be having vacations on the Amalfi Coast, Louis Vuitton bags, and an HGTV kitchen before they've earned it. That's right. I've been convinced that I should have Amalfi Coast vacations and an HGTV kitchen. You nailed it, Ted. And it's all Instagram's fault. Yeah.
It is. It's on Twitter.
How did he distill down what we're all suffering from so succinctly?
Money dysmorphia.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a good excuse.
What does having this excuse even do for anybody? Even if we blame our problems on money dysmorphia, what do we get?
Sympathy? Do people want sympathy? Maybe they want sympathy.
Sympathy won't pay off my debts.
It won't. And nobody's going to give you free money either.
No.
Maybe that's what they want. If I say I have money dysmorphia, will the government give me money?
Not yet, but I think that's the goal.
Is it on the way?
Yeah.
Because maybe I have it then.
We got to start petitioning for that. Championing it.
You won't hear a show like this anywhere else. And that's probably for the best. The Worst of the Riot. Radio U.
Isaiah, while you were away in Florida, soaking up the fun in the sun, enjoying the heat, I'm sure. What were the temperatures like there?
In the 80s.
It's not too bad. I could go for that right now. For me, I was shivering because my heat went out in my house.
That's not ideal.
That was a tough one. Now I I think I had a pretty good outlook on it. I looked on the bright side. I said at least it wasn't a couple weeks ago when like the whole country was frozen, where it would have been like single digits, right?
It was a little bit warmer this weekend, wasn't it?
It wasn't painfully cold, but it was uncomfortably cold until I got it fixed. Now, are you like, I was talking to Nene because I spent a lot of Saturday with Nene, a winter jam, away from my heat being off. But I was talking to Nene. He was totally with me on this. Are you the type of person when something breaks at your house because you rent too, that you'd like to avoid having the landlord over? Like that's the last thing that you want to do?
See, I immediately call the landlord.
You do?
That's my immediate first thing.
But your landlord's your dad, right?
Exactly.
I mean, you don't live with your parents, but you rent from them. So that's a little different. Have you ever had a place where you had like a regular, like a landlord you weren't related to?
I've lived in multiple apartments, yes.
Yeah.
And every time, if there's an issue,
you just call up the landlord.
I'm ringing the phone immediately.
That's interesting because Nene and I both, we were like, no, I don't like getting the landlord over. So for me, I will, and like me and my landlord have an understanding that I will check in on what the problem is and see if there's anything I can do. Because the landlord prefers with something simple rather than getting a guy to come out and fix it, or he has to call up one of his friends or something like that. That if I can just do it, if it's simple enough that I can just do it, then I can just like turn in the receipt or what, like he'll take it off, however it works. But when my heat went out, I went through the process of my furnace has a control board that has a light. And so then you can tell by the light, it at least gives you some indication. I got that far. I've never done anything with a furnace before besides change the filter, but I got that far to where, okay, I know what the light is saying this, but then that's as far as I could get before I'm not going any further. I called up the landlord and I wanted to avoid it, but I had to call up the landlord. He had to pay to get a guy come on out and fix it. It was a pretty simple fix, but something that was outside of my area of expertise. That's something that I couldn't just learn with a YouTube video. So that happens in life sometimes, where as much as you want to keep the landlord out of it, eventually sometimes you just have to realize this is a problem that's outside of my area of expertise. I can identify what the problem might be, but I can't solve it on my own. I'm going to need to get somebody else in there. And even though it may not be fun, and by the way, nothing, then the guy just came over and fixed it.
Your landlord wasn't mad at you?
The landlord wasn't mad. He didn't even come over. He didn't even question anything. He didn't even come over. I don't know why it is that I am so scared of the landlord. Like he's going to come over and kick me out sometimes. Although I do, you do feel like you want to have the house extra clean when the landlord's swinging by. But nevertheless, I don't like getting him involved. But sometimes you need to seek some outside help. Sometimes you need some outside expertise because even if you can identify the problem, you can't solve it on your own. That's what God is for. When you've got a problem in your life, when you've got something going on, you may know, well, yeah, that the problem probably comes because I went through this breakup or because like this or that or whatever. You might know what the problem is from. You might know what the problem is, but try as you might, you can't solve it on your own. That's what Jesus is for, to come on in and help. And just like with my landlord, where no issues arose from it, it's not as scary to get Jesus involved as it seems. Jesus will come in and he'll help. It's free. It's easy. It's simple. Just say, hey, God, I want some help. I'm ready for that. And he'll do it for you. You want to know more? RadioU.com/free gift.
Nobody does it better. The Riot Radio U.
Got a new wedding trend for you here. And this one, I'll tell you, I may write it off. I'm not going to write it off instantly because first impression, it's actually kind of cool. Many people now at their weddings, instead of using like a child usually as the ring bearer, I think is typically what you would do, right?
Some people do that.
A lot of people do a child. Some people do a dog.
Some people have no ring bearer at all.
True. Some people are using birds of prey as their ring bearer. We're talking hawks, falcons, owls. Isaiah, that's kind of cool, isn't it?
It is cool.
It's actually kind of awesome. Until you see the price. It can cost up to around $1,200. Whereas if you get your niece to do it, it's free. But What's cooler? A hawk swooping in with a wedding ring or your niece?
Well, your niece is much cuter.
Uh-huh.
The hawk, does it like do a little fly in?
Mm-hmm.
Does it hover above the guests, or is it a quick? Is it a 5-second thing?
It's not a helicopter. It, like, swoops in. I mean, have you ever been to like the zoo or something where they do one of the shows with the birds and they like glide over the audience? That's what I imagine. There's like some guy at the back of wherever your ceremony is, and he's like, "Go, Falcon!" And the Falcon glides over the entire audience and then perches on probably like the groom. I don't know. It could be the groom. It could be the officiant of the wedding. It could be the bride, and she's got like that glove on, and the whole time you're like, why she got that glove on? It's so she can catch the Falcon and take the ring from it. That's how I picture it.
It's cool, but I don't think it's worth the price.
You don't think it's worth it? How much would you pay to have a hawk at your wedding?
I don't even know if I would want, like, even for free. I don't know if I would choose.
You wouldn't choose it for free.
I wouldn't choose it for free. I would rather have it be like my cute niece or even my dog would be better than the bird. I have no attachment to the bird.
Jim the dog would be a good ring bearer.
The bird doesn't feel nearly as cool as any of the other options.
I don't know. I am seeing some people doing like parrots. That's not as cool. Like not like a macaw. I'm talking like parakeet.
Like it feels like, because there's these birds are so cool.
Yeah.
They're so cool looking. You look so hard if you've got that glove on.
Yeah.
And it's like a hawk sitting on your head. I am not that guy.
Look at this.
It feels as if you're trying to be cooler than you may actually be. I know I'm not cool.
These people, they've got a beachside wedding. Like they're on the beach, and then the Falcon comes in, but he messes up because he like lands on the arch. And
or was that planned?
Out of reach. Yeah. They couldn't get the ring from it. So
Chad says, I work weddings part-time over weekends. I've seen this with a Falcon.
It's
pretty cool to see.
It's pretty cool.
I think it would be cool.
That's for somebody who's seen a lot of weddings.
See, I think if I was sitting at a wedding and somebody had a Falcon fly in and drop off the ring, that would be cool. But yet again, I just don't think I'm cool enough to be able to handle all that.
Yeah. It would make you feel a little bit like, like some kind of wizard or something.
Like, who am I trying to be? I'm not that guy. There's guys that I know that can pull that off. I'm not that guy.
Yeah. You're not.
The stories you love with the opinions you hate. The Riot Radio U.
We're going to give you guys a scenario that our texters have texted in about their relationship, helping you guys go through the windy turnpike of love. This one is a doozy. You can decide whether this listener should love him or leave him. This one was texted in from a friend.
Oh, okay.
My very dear friend has discovered that her live-in boyfriend of 2 years has been hiding $55,000 in credit card debt.
Yikes.
This man contributes, they're kicking him while he's down.
Ooh.
This man contributes very little to the household expenses. She owns the home and barely helps to maintain it. He refuses to share any details about his debt and doesn't like being asked about it. What advice should I share with her? I don't want to hurt her feelings, but I want to give her fair and honest advice.
Ooh. This is tough. Because this is from a friend, right?
This is from a friend.
So it feels, if this was directly from the gal in the relationship, it would feel very open and shut, would you say?
You would think so.
It's a leave 'em. It's a big leave 'em. It's the biggest red flag leave 'em you can get. But what do you do when you're not the one in the relationship and you're just on the outside looking in? How do you intervene? Or should you? 8772 Radio U. I think we need to outsource this a little bit. What would you do if this was your friend? Let us know. 8772 Radio U. We'll think about it. We'll see what people are saying, and we'll get to all of it next. It's over.
You won't hear a show like this anywhere else. And that's probably for the best. The worst of the Riot. Radio U.
A girl is asking for help as her friend is dating a guy who just recently revealed after 2 years of dating that he has been hiding $55,000 in credit card debt. This man contributes very little to the household expenses and barely helps maintain it. She owns the home. What should she do?
How could he contribute much to the expenses? He's $55K in debt. Brian texted in. Brian said, I stand with all bros, but hiding $55K in debt and not helping out, it's time to leave him. It's only been 2 years. You still have time to restart with someone else. Unless he is working on the debt, then work with him to get better. That's good from Brian. I like that. That it's not the number of 55,000, although that is eye-popping. It's a lot. But if it depends on also, right, how you learned about it. Did you find a bill and he's been keeping it a secret, or did he finally at some point come clean on his own and say, hey, I just think we've been together a while. I think you should know I'm deep in debt, because I think that makes a big difference. Dee also said they're living together. If you live in a common law state and have lived together for more, she says, than a year, his debt could become her debt. He's not helping her out with all that debt. At least have him moved out, and if not, leave him. That's a good point too. I don't know how the common law stuff works, but she's right. If you're living with him, and the longer you stay with him, right, even if it doesn't officially become your debt, it's more and more going to functionally become your debt. You can't have that if you're fine with if you do okay with your own money. So I guess even worse if you're also bad with money. So yeah, I mean it's a clear leave him, right?
See, but I think there's layers to it.
Mm-hmm.
If I was looking on the other side, I think the biggest issue is he won't say why.
Yeah.
He got the debt.
Mm-hmm.
Is this, I mean, because realistically, for a lot of people that are walking around or listening right now,
yeah,
$55,000 worth of debt, that's a lot of debt, but that's almost as much debt as anyone who went to college probably had. A lot of people have similar debt to that.
Yeah.
And they're living with somebody, and they're dating somebody, so it's not the amount of debt
right
that is the reason that this guy is in a bit of trouble here. It's that he hid it, and that he won't explain why he has it, how he obtained this debt.
Yeah.
Because if he says, oh, I went to college and I'm paying off my school debt, then that's a pretty normal situation.
Yeah. Although it still sucks that he's not contributing. According to this friend, anyways.
That does stink that he's not contributing.
Yeah.
And also on the other side of it as well, when was he supposed to disclose
that is a good question.
the amount of debt? They've been dating for 2 years. At what time is he supposed to say I have $55,000 in credit card debt? Because it's not the first thing that you say when you meet somebody. Mm-mm. When you start dating, you don't say, hey, I'm $100,000 in debt, or hey, I'm a millionaire, because those things don't need to be disclosed when you first start dating somebody.
Yeah.
So I see that he's been hiding it for too long.
Mm-hmm.
If he's being secretive about it, which is what Chris just texted in, if he's being secretive about $55,000 in debt, that creates trust issues. That would make me question what other things that person is being secretive about. And I agree with that as well. If he's being secretive, that's bad. $55K in debt, and also that he won't disclose it, bad. Leave him unless he'll disclose why he's been hiding it.
Yeah.
And if it's a horrible reason, then you definitely got to go.
You got to shine the spotlight on him. Interrogation time. What is this debt from?
And if he won't answer,
yeah, we need answers. Because yeah, $55,000 now. I have been assuming it's credit card debt, which is definitely different from student loan debt. But nevertheless, yeah, it's not the price. It's not the amount of debt. It's the secrecy. It's the hiding it. And it's the going forward, not contributing it. When do you disclose it? Probably sometime before you move in might be a good time. But the last question, because this is from a friend, when does the friend step in? What can she do?
Well, if she asked you for advice, you just give it to her straight and say that exactly what we just said. Mm-hmm. You need to figure out why. But if she's not asking you for advice, then you don't need to give advice.
Yeah, she's probably not going to listen to you anyways.
Yeah, she's fine.
But,
she's a big girl. She can handle it herself.
But
you don't determine her relationship. You didn't approve of her going out with him.
Uh-huh. I'll tell you what you do. You don't give advice. You just tell her to listen to the rest of the Riot podcast. She'll get the message.
If podcast awards were ever a thing, this show wouldn't win any. This is the Worst of the Riot podcast.
first. Isaiah, yesterday in the NFL, the Super Bowl matchup was determined. It will be the Kansas City Chiefs versus the San Francisco 49ers. But I'll tell you that the top topic of conversation with the people I was with during the Kansas City Chiefs-Baltimore Ravens game was the Super Bowl matchup determined all along? Because obviously we talked about on the show, it was a widely spread online conspiracy that the Super Bowl was going to be the Baltimore Ravens and San Francisco 49ers. There was different ways that people had thought that they figured that would be the matchup, whether it was because the colors of the Super Bowl logo or leaked graphics online from TV guides and news tickers that said that it's going to be the Ravens and 49ers. Obviously, it's not the Ravens and 49ers. How do you explain it?
Well, there's a pretty clear explanation.
Okay.
Which, anybody know the number that we're on right now? The Super Bowl number? I believe this is number 58.
Is it?
It is, I believe so.
Okay.
Super
I'll
Bowl
take your word for it.
58.
Don't even know.
And in the beginning, when they created the logo, which was months and months and months and months ago,
yeah,
that was before the NFL could take it into fact that this was actually going to be Super Bowl Swifty-8. They made the logo before Taylor Swift was in the picture. It seems pretty clear and obvious they want her at the game.
Uh-huh.
The best way to do it, get Travis Kelce there. That's what they'll tell you now.
Yeah. After years of asking. And so you don't think that the Taylor Swift being together with Travis Kelce was predetermined?
I don't think so.
That's not, the NFL doesn't have that kind of power?
I don't think so.
No.
I don't think they went to Taylor and said, can you date Travis Kelce?
No.
That seems a little far.
That's a little far-fetched,
That seems a little, that seems kind of crazy.
You think at some point along the way, the NFL decided
stop
to change
saying
the
you
script?
think. I don't think these things. I'm telling you
Okay.
what the public will say.
Uh-huh. How did they get all the Ravens players to agree to that?
They didn't.
They didn't.
Oh,
No wonder the Ravens were so upset yesterday, taking all those dumb penalties.
Yep, it
bumping into Travis Kelce and whatever.
They'll say it was the referees.
Yeah. They were upset. They were like, we saw the script. We were supposed to go to the Super Bowl, and now you're taking it away
now
because
it got switched.
Because of some blonde. Really?
And what else they'll tell you is the referee that was booked for the game is the one that calls the most penalties for the home team.
I heard about that leading up to it.
I bet you did.
Yeah.
So it's a never-ending. It's a never-ending conspiracy.
So in other words, the logo can't be trusted because we don't know when the logo. There's so many unknowns when the logo is created, but that doesn't mean it's not all according to some kind of plan.
That's true.
When do you think they changed the plan?
I don't know.
Again, what do you think?
Yeah, when do I think these things? I don't think these things.
Speaking as a mouthpiece of the conspiracy theorists.
But I will say this. I came to a conclusion about halfway through the Kansas City Chiefs game. Before that point, I was cheering for the Ravens to win.
Uh-huh.
And about halfway through the game, I was like, I kind of want Kansas City to win. I came around.
You did?
I did.
Because of?
Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, he's good, isn't he?
The reason that I've came around to him is similar because I don't want to be a greatness hater.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a greatness hater for LeBron.
Mm-hmm.
I cheer for LeBron to go all the way because I think it's a great storyline. It's good for the NBA. Mm-hmm. Same thing with Patrick Mahomes. He's the only one that's coming close to Tom Brady.
Yeah.
It's more entertaining for the NFL if Patrick Mahomes is in the big game. Because what are Lamar Jackson and the Ravens? Like, does that make for an exciting Super Bowl for the world? It doesn't. It doesn't make for an exciting Super Bowl. But Patrick Mahomes chasing Tom Brady, that makes for an exciting Super Bowl. I don't love Patrick Mahomes. I don't love the Chiefs, but I can come to appreciate greatness.
Yeah. By the way, I have an explanation. The Ravens, the logo thing, the TV guide, news ticker, that was all a false flag. It was the NFL. They were the ones putting that out. They had plants.
Oh, you're saying it was a switcheroo?
Yeah, they put that out intentionally. They're like, if we make the conspiracy that the Ravens will make it, then nobody will question when they don't. Then it'll just debunk any conspiracies, and we can write whatever we want and always get away with it. That's my explanation.
The switcheroo, Hudson.
Yeah, Project 86.
Oh, hi there.
Worst of the riot.
Crank that up.
Radio U.